All right, we're ready to get started. Go ahead, Jeremy Warner, get us going.
Hey, Chester, Jeremy from 24/7 Sports. Welcome back. Besides the draw to the alma mater, what drew you or sold you about Brad Underwood and joining his staff?
Well, very difficult decision. I was at a good program, good place that had a large part in building. Um, Obviously, those memories of being a player here and a student here, along with my wife being an alum here, and the proximity to her home, it all made a lot of sense.
And then what do you know about Brad coming into this process, and what sold you on him as a coach? Because I imagine the way he talks about toughness and all of that kind of speaks to you. But what did you think about him?
Well, obviously I competed against him as a coach when he was at Oklahoma State. Loved the way his teams play fast. I was coming from a program that, more slower pace, half court oriented, a lot of execution in the half court. And, knowing that he's going to put a lot of pressure on the team in transition. Like the way he plays. Obviously, the toughness piece speaks for itself. His teams always compete and play hard. We've had some battles when he was at Oklahoma State. And just being a fan and watching the game and, watching this team through this year, it made a lot of sense to align with a coach like Brad Underwood.
Thanks, Chester.
Chester, you mentioned watching this team this year. What were your thoughts on seeing your alma mater, climb to number 2 in the polls and 1 seed, everything else? What were your thoughts from afar on this team this year?
I was just proud, man. I saw those guys walking around the bubble, man. I just felt so happy seeing everybody, and I saw Derek Burson and Whitman and the whole team. I just became joyful. I was rooting for those guys. Obviously, it didn't finish the way we wanted it, but again, man, I just felt pride. They made me proud to be an alum. And as a fan of basketball, that team was exciting to watch. Obviously with Ayo and Curbelo, they're really good guard play. And then Kofi, gives you really good front court play. And that team was definitely built to win a national championship. So it was fun watching that journey through the year.
And then I saw you tweeted about Mary Ann's last night. Is it nice to be back in Champaign? I guess this may be the first time you've seen the full renovations of the State Farm Center. I mean, it was Assembly Hall last time you were here. So what are your thoughts on Champaign and the facilities now in 2021?
Well, it's cool to see it develop. Obviously I drove down Green Street. I didn't recognize a lot of it, man. A lot of buildings, a lot of high rises going up since I've been in school. The place is definitely developed. It's nice. The facilities are taking a major uplift. Obviously, the State Farm Center, it sells itself. It's nice in there. So a lot has changed since I've been back. But good change, and it's great. It's great to see athletic department put that kind of money and commitment into the basketball program.
Thanks.
Hey, Chester, welcome back. I know your relationship with Bruce obviously goes back to your playing days, but I'm curious if there's one thing at least that you could identify you learned in your tenure as an assistant and as an assistant under Mike Young. What's a couple things you might be bringing to Illinois, having been an assistant with those guys?
Well, you got to understand where I was. Kansas State, really not an easy job. No job is easy, but locationally a very tough job. It's where I got my start, man, and I didn't get a crash course on how to coach at 25, jumping right into the Big 12. So I learned a lot on my own, and also a lot from Coach Weber by allowing me room to grow. He, I developed the guards, and that was my sole responsibility as a on the court coach, and obviously game planning and scouting. My first year on the job, I had top 10 Florida scout, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Iowa State. So I got through in the fire, man, and it was great for me. It was great for me to learn. Nobody said what region to recruit. I just went out and hunted for players. So that part of it, being at Kansas State, I became an evaluator more than I became a recruiter. I had to evaluate talent at a higher level than anybody else. So I was able to identify guys who wanted to be at Kansas State, were good enough to play at Kansas State that maybe, the untrained eye or fan couldn't see. And, and on top of it, develop that type of talent and toughness to compete with the Kansases of the world and the upper echelon of the Big 12. And, as you can see, we won 2 Big 12 championships, made an Elite 8 run with, our kind of guys. And then why I left Kansas State, I played for Coach Weber, coached under my whole career. And I felt it was time that I got out and learned something different. Mike Young is probably regarded as one of the best X and O guys in America. And for my journey to be a head coach, I wanted to learn, some different things offensively. And I definitely learned some things. He's a great mind offensively, and he's a good friend. But, what I learned most from Mike Young was managing people. Great manager of people, doesn't micromanage, lets you work, just expects you to come in and do your job. So that part of it from Coach Young, with the X's and O's, the moving of pieces and making it work offensively, I learned a lot there. So combining the two with player development, what I learned from Coach Young, X and O wise, practice planning, game planning, preparing to win. Every game is a different game. Every opponent is a different opponent. And just, figuring out how to win from game to game with your personnel is kind of, my experience and, really masterminding how to win games. So, defensively, I'm strong. Offensively, I feel I'm strong as well. Developmentally, I'm strong. I can build relationships with players. I'm not too far removed from where they've been. So that part of the job, being 10 years in, starting at 25, I feel I've done a great job of building that piece to my coaching resume. Now, Illinois is an easier sell. We're an hour from Chicago, top of the Big Ten, a little more sexy than the 2 schools I was at. So I think the recruiting profile I can pick up a lot easier than Virginia Tech or Kansas State.
Is there a particular focus that you and Brad have hashed out about what you'll be doing? Work with guards or what have you?
No, we're still going to hash that out. Obviously, I'm a point guard. I've worked with guards my whole career, so I hope that's not changing. But if he needs me to do something else, I'll do it.
Thanks much.
Hi, Chester. Nice to meet you. You've bounced around a lot in your basketball playing and coaching career from different regions to even globally. Is there an area that I guess you feel the most comfortable recruiting high school talent based off the relationships that you've been able to gain?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've signed players from all over the country, man. Florida, Maryland, Utah, Connecticut, Arizona. Shoot, man, I've signed kids from all over. So, like I said, at Kansas State, I learned how to hunt. I had to go find players that fit, that were talented enough to compete at that level. Georgia, I've recruited. Anywhere, on up and down the East Coast, I'm good. I have a lot of relationships, but being in Kansas State, I've built relationships all over the country. So even in the West Coast, so I can make a phone call anywhere and locate a good player.
What do you think the importance of that is, and not just pigeonholing yourself into one small area, and you have this ability to go globally? How important do you think that is for you?
I think it's good. If you miss on a few kids, you're never out of the game. So, just being able to have different reaches. Obviously, Illinois is a global university. And, you look at the team now, I mean, not all the kids are from Chicago or Illinois. So it's important that you can branch out and get players from all over.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Chester, welcome back to Champaign. To follow up on recruiting, what have you done here since getting hired to hit the ground running, and what's your approach recruiting wise now that you're wearing the black eye?
Well, obviously, recruiting at Virginia Tech's a little different. Mike Young's system requires, it's not a big emphasis on athleticism, even though you had to have athletes to compete in that league. He wants the best skilled guys, guys who can shoot the basketball, that don't need the basketball in their hands to be effective. You're running a true motion offense where you're running off pin downs and different screening actions. And, obviously you're going to play at a slower pace at Virginia Tech. Here, it's a high octane transition, scoring the first 7 seconds. Guards that are fun to watch, that can make plays with the ball and make plays for other people, like Ayo and Curbelo. So there's a lot of those guards out there. And, no knock on Virginia Tech. We had to get the right pieces to fit what we did at Virginia Tech. Now here, there's tons of kids who can make plays. And, my focus right now is locating those guys that fit, not only as a basketball player, but from a character standpoint and a toughness standpoint. We have to remain the toughest team in the Big Ten to compete. So I have a few guys in mind. Me and Coach Underwood are going to sit down and go through my list of guys that I've been in on for a long time and see what fits, and we'll evaluate from there.
What do you think your passion for Illinois, which what it means to play here, how will that play in recruiting and maybe also just with the guys on the current roster?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to feel my energy every day, man. I mean, nothing's changed since I was a player. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to compete. These guys are going to feel that energy, that edge, that toughness. And it's a requirement, man, to play the game that way. And now obviously you add the shooting and the ball handling and all the other stuff that comes with development. But at the end of the day, man, it's about being tougher than everybody and competing. So, I don't think much has changed from me as a player in that regard. I'm still going to be tough. I'm still going to come with a lot of energy and passion every day to work. And I hope these guys feed off that and take on that personality.
Thanks, Chester.
Chester, you mentioned, getting that first job at 25. Just what was it like maybe being thrown in the deep end a little bit at a high major in your first year as an assistant coach?
Wasn't too big of an adjustment for me, man, because I always felt like I was a coach, whether I was a player. I always felt that was my role as a player, being a point guard. I felt I had a tremendous basketball IQ, good feel for the game. So stepping into that role at 25, I demanded respect first and foremost. Some of the guys I coached were 3-4 years younger than me, but they respected me as their coach. Hitting the ground running, like I said, Coach Weber gave me a lot of responsibility as a young assistant coach, and I think it helped me develop into the coach I am now.
I guess having learned from Coach Weber, Coach Young, what do you maybe think learning under Brad Underwood will be like, and just what do you feel like that might add to kind of your growth as a coach?
Just watching them play, it's a different style of play than when I've been at with Coach Weber and Coach Young, both really good in their own rights. This will be new as far as pace, fast. Want to score in the first 7 seconds, want to beat you up the court in transition. Scoring 81 a game. This will be fun. I think this will be great. This will be another thing to add to my tool belt as a coach. As far as style of play goes, heavy ball screen offense. Space and play. So this will be fun for me to learn another style, man. Like I said, Coach Young, we walked it up a lot. We executed, and we did it at a high level. But this will be fun as well. It's just another style of play that I can kind of pick and choose and learn from. And when I get my chance to be a head coach, I can bring all these things to the table.
Thank you.
Hey, Chester, Joey Wagner with the Illini Inquirer. Nice to meet you. I'm curious, how did your time in Champaign shape you as a person? What was appealing about the opportunity to come back to somewhere that was, obviously had such an impact?
Well, obviously I grew up here. I came here as a 19-year-old from prep school in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. From Baltimore, hadn't been around much diversity in my childhood. So just meeting people, networking, and obviously, I went through some tough times here as a player and, just as a person, which, every student athlete goes through. But it really showed me how resilient I was, how tough I really was. I thought I was a tough dude, but when you're tested in life, man, it really challenges you. And I don't think I broke one time here. I thought I handled myself well. I treated people with respect, and I played the game with a lot of respect and courage. So coming back, man, it just made so much sense for me. I love this place. I have an affinity for this place. Even as a coach, I would watch Illinois basketball, just as a fan, and, being a proud alum, just to see, these last couple of years have some success. So it was fun for me.
And I'm curious, the conversations with Brad, how did those get going? Was Illinois a job that you thought, if that comes open, I would probably have to really consider an opportunity to go there? How did this kind of pick up the steam to get us to this point?
Honestly, I was all set to return to Virginia Tech. I had no idea this was going to happen. We talked about it as a family, me and my wife, when Brad called Coach Young. Coach Young is a great friend of mine. And that was hard. That was hard because the way he treated me, the responsibility he gave me as a coach, I felt like we were building something special. And I didn't know Brad as well as I knew him. And, that's a hard thing in this business, is the trust. But, I did my due diligence, called around, asked about Brad. Everybody came back and said Brad was a good dude to work for, good coach, won't micromanage you, will let you coach. So to tie it on top, hey, this is my alma mater, man. It's hard to say no. But not only that, man, I like I said, I tell people this all the time. I didn't win a Big Ten championship while I was here, and that haunts me, man. Because I know I sacrificed a lot to play at the University of Illinois. My body, I played hard every night, and that includes practice. And a lot of times I played hurt. But I didn't win a Big Ten championship, and I greatly want to do that. I have 2 Big 12 championships, an Elite Eight run at Kansas State, but nothing would make me happier than to winning the Big Ten championship at Illinois.
Thank you, Chester. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Chester, Brett Barons, WCIA. When you started coaching, did you have visions of being where you're at right now?
Meaning where I am? What do you mean?
An assistant at Illinois.
Honestly, man, no. That wasn't a thought process for me. It just, me coaching kind of happened just like this job happened. I was playing ball. I'm in the playoffs in Germany, and I'm set to sign a 2-year deal to go back. And Coach Weber calls one night, and he's saying he might take the job at Kansas State. Did I know Rodney McGruder? I know some people that know Rodney McGruder. Coach, why? What's going on? Well, he's thinking about leaving. And I want to make sure he stays. He's a really good player. All right, I got on the phone. I called it. This probably was my first recruit. I called a few people that knew Rodney, and he was out the door when Frank Martin left. He was thinking about leaving. So I convinced him that he should stay. Then he asked me, he said, "Are you coming?" I said, "Nah, I'm still playing, man. What do you mean am I coming?" So he's like, "Man, I would feel a lot better if you came." Coach Weber calls and says, "Well, are you ready to start coaching?" So now I got to think about my future. Okay, I'm doing pretty well overseas. I'm making good money, and actually we're winning. And another guy that my coach was American. He played at Stanford, John Patrick, and Coach Weber just said, "Look, are you ready to start?" And I had to go back and think. I looked at my wife and I said, "Well, I probably could play another 6-7 years. I'll probably be walking funny when I'm done, but I probably got another 6-7 left. But I can coach for another 50 years." So it became and I knew I wanted to coach, and I know how hard it is to get in at that level. So it was a no-brainer. It was easy. It was an easy decision for my future and doing something that I already loved doing and wanted to do.
What did Brad tell you, or did he have to sell you on anything about this job?
There was nothing to sell. There was nothing to sell. My sell was to myself. I want to win a Big Ten championship and compete for a national championship. All he had to sell me on was him, and not really sell. I just had to get to know him a little bit better, and build that relationship and start to build that trust. Everything else about this place, I love. I love this place. I love this town. Obviously, I miss some of the food spots, as you guys can see, but I mean, look, man, this is where we went to school. This is where I met my wife, man. This place is special.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hi, Coach. Doug Bouchon from Rivals. Before you got to Illinois, Coach Underwood signed 3 kids in the 2021 class. Have you been in contact with those kids? What's that conversation been like? And what's kind of their reaction to the changes on the coaching staff?
You know, obviously when you get recruited and the people that recruit you leave, there's some, you know, you got to give it time and figure it out. But the initial conversations with each of them have been great. They're still Illini. They haven't decommitted. So that's encouraging, and just starting to build that relationship and that trust back. You know, obviously the guys that recruited them left. So, you know, I'm trying to pick up the pieces where they left off and let them know that, hey, you're still committed to the University of Illinois, and this is a great place, and you came here for a reason.
You know, the other thing is, you know, I assume you got to walk kind of a fine line between continuing to recruit the same kids that you were after when you were at Virginia Tech. What's your approach to that? You know, what's that dynamic, and talk about those relationships you had with kids when you were at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously you have your top priority guys, and it's like, you know, they're good enough to play anywhere. So, you know, when I left, you know, I got a lot of texts and calls from parents, and it's like they're excited. You know, obviously they know I played here, and you know this is a big time program that's, you know, really on an upswing. So they're excited about it. You know, now it's about getting the right pieces and the pieces that fit for what we need. You know, what we may have needed at Virginia Tech may not be necessarily a need here. Obviously, we signed some really good wing players, and you know, we were recruiting wing players at Virginia Tech, so that may not translate to coming to Illinois. But you know, we needed bigs, and we're going to recruit bigs and point guards. So you know, a lot of the same kids that I'm recruiting at Virginia Tech, you know, will be on the hook here at Illinois as well.
One more quick one, sorry, but have you talked with Coach Underwood about what your recruiting territories will be? Are there certain places where you'll be focusing the most?
No, we haven't. You know, just right now, I'm just still trying to get my feet under me, man. I just got to town, so we're like I said, I can recruit anywhere, everywhere. I feel like I can build relationships anywhere. So anywhere he needs me to, but you know, obviously I have relationships in certain places. Obviously Baltimore, where I'm from, Florida, you know, up and down the East Coast, you know, even in Texas, you know, from my time at Kansas State. So I'll be able to recruit anywhere.
Thank you, Coach.
Chester, can you talk about, it seems like in your coaching journey throughout these years since you started at 25, it's all been about stepping out of your comfort zone. You could have stayed with Bruce and it would have been comfortable and everything would have been fine. Sounds like you could have stayed with Mike and it would have been comfortable and everything is fine. But how important has it been for you to step out of that comfort zone and develop as a coach?
Well, I think it's important, man. You know, like I said, I played for Coach Weber and I coached under him for 7 years. So, you know, you make that, and did a GA year with Coach Weber. So you're looking at 12 years of my basketball career have been with, you know, one guy. So being able to step away, learn something different, it's important, man, because you know, you can get stuck in doing it one way, and you know, this is basketball. It's ever changing. There's a million styles, and you know, what may work, what may not work, depends on the guy and the personnel. But you know, just learning. I learned a great deal under every guy that I've coached under. So I'm looking forward to learning more. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't have an ego. But one thing's been consistent, and everywhere I've been or played, we've won. You know, we've won to a certain degree. So I don't plan on that change.
Thanks, Chester. Appreciate it. Welcome to Champaign.
Thank you.
Yes, Joey, I'll go now. So Green Street's changed a lot. I think you probably also are wondering who all these people are that you're Zooming with. Is Jeremy the only other guy that was here when you were last?
Let me look around here. No, I remember Sturdy. You know, obviously I know KP. Steve's been around for a while. Steve Kelly's been around. Piper, I know from, you know, following. Where is Lauren Tate?
He's still alive.
Jesus Christ. Rob, obviously know you. So no, man, it's good to see some familiar faces, man. John Sapini, there he is. There we go. Okay, so I see some familiar faces.
You mentioned right away being closer to Sarah's family. Would you give us an update on how everybody's doing?
Family's great. I have a 3.5-year-old son, Cameron, and a 6-year-old daughter, Chandler. My wife and I met here, and we've been together since our sophomore year of college.
Did you want to get Ann and Bob closer to the babysitting duties? Is that it?
Listen, so they would come wherever we were, they would come during the season because they know, it's hard, man. I mean, when you got scouting reports and recruiting and, you're on phone calls, it's hard to, be a present dad full time. So they help me out a lot. My mother and father-in-law, they are a big deal to me and my wife. So they make my job easy. So when they come in town and I can, go to the basement and work on my scout and make recruiting calls, it makes my life easier. So instead of them driving 10 hours or 11 hours to Blacksburg, Virginia, it's 2 hours up the street, 2.5 up the street from St. Louis. So that makes my job easier. That makes me a more effective coach.
Is that the same with Peggy? Was she helping you out? And was that the reason?
Well, my mom had a stroke, so she's not able to physically get down and babysit. So, that wasn't easy either.
I'm sorry to hear that. When you were talking about watching Illinois games, Brad Underwood has been with us. Didn't really want to talk about the Loyola game, and he said he wasn't going to watch it until after the 4th of July. Have you analyzed that game? Do you know
Guess what? Loyola robbed me from getting to the Final Four too, so I ain't too mad at that. They're good, man. They're well coached. They're tough. They're physical. Krutwig was a big time matchup nightmare. And again, we witnessed the same thing when we played them. They're a very physical basketball team, really sound defensively, and they were unique offensively, and they could lift their big guy or post them and, play a lot of dribble handoffs with their guards, and that could bring Kofi out on the floor. So it was a unique matchup going into the game. I didn't know that they would defend as well as they did, but, hats off to Porter Moser, man. He's done a great job.
My last one, I want to talk about your intellectual growth a little bit more. You already mentioned how you grew up here and being 35 is a lot different from being 19. Vocabulary changes, your view of the world changes. Is there anything that you'd like to continue to grow on outside of the basketball thing as you move into this particular job?
No, not really. Not really. Vocabulary changes. I don't know what you mean by that, but
I mean that you use expressive language as many people do differently when they're 35 than they do when they're 19. It's just that you've
Rob, man, am I a passionate, fiery competitor? And may I say some bad words sometimes? Sure. I am not walking around using explicit language every day. I'm a dad, a parent, a husband. I've grown a lot since you probably saw me as 19, 20-year-old. So no, man, there's not really much, man. I feel like I've grown a lot, man. I've been around, I'm a worldly guy. I've lived in another country. I lived in the Midwest, the East Coast. So, I'm one class short of a master's degree, man. So, look, that's pretty good for a guy that's coming from the projects in Baltimore. So,
no, I agree.
I've grown up a lot.
I agree, and I guess the one offshoot to that is just the change that you've experienced since you were first here. It's also not just mental and intellectual. It's also physical. You're at a point in your life where you can still kind of combat with these guys in practice.
Oh yeah,
and that changes a little bit over time.
No, I'm still there, man. Look, man, the tank is still there. I can still play. I still practice. I still demonstrate. I still get out on the court and play. So look, I'm not 50 years old, man. I'm 35.
Well, I'm 50 years old and it hurts.
Good for you, Rob.
All right, let's get to Joey.
Chester, I'm curious, when was the last time you were able to spend any extended time in Champaign? Like, what were the emotions like getting back into town, driving up to the State Farm Center today? Or
was crazy. You know, the last time I was even in Champaign was at Coach McLean's funeral. So, but extended time, man, it would have to be my GA year when I was a grad assistant. So, you know, just driving around and seeing all the new restaurants, man, it's been cool. It's been fun seeing all the new apartment buildings, seeing all the changes to the facilities. It's been cool, man. I've enjoyed it. Breathtaking, to say the least. My wife, she doesn't even recognize the place. So it's fun to see a town grow and be progressive, especially a college town that's so passionate about sports.
When is Mary Ann's on the schedule for you then?
No, Mary Ann's might have to be when I get back. You know, I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Gotta get home, get the house sold, and you know, check my daughter out of school. But it'll be soon. It won't be long. It won't be long.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey, Chester, Nico Heffler with Fox, Illinois. As a point guard, you're coming into a program that you've kind of kept an eye on. What have been your thoughts on Andre Curbelo, a young, talented point guard that you're going to work with now?
Special. He's got high-speed Wi-Fi upstairs. That kid's smart, intelligent, crafty, elite playmaker. You know, he's got it, man. That kid's special. I thought he gave stability to the lineup at times with his ability to make everyone better. You know, Ayo obviously was the closer and the go-to guy, but you know, Curbelo just made everything work, man. I mean, he's a CEO, so that kid can do a lot of things on the basketball court. I can't wait to work with him.
Thanks, Chester.
All right, that's all time we have for Chester. Chester, thanks for joining us and spending so much time. We're going to switch out here and get Coach Underwood in the chair. Hang on.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Chester.
Thanks, Chester. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Yo.